With me in studios, I'm privileged, I'm honored and humbled to be hosting a lady who I know when it comes to issues of environment has sacrificed and can sacrifice beyond life. Many of us know her as a person who stood to defend forest cover in this country. And this is none other than Honorable Beatrice Anywar. Some of us, those days, we used to refer to her as Mama Mabiira, and she's the Minister of State for Environment. Honorable, you're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers. It is also an honor that I'm hosted today on an issue which I'm very comfortable to talk about and passionate for that matter. So good morning, viewers. I look forward to having a fruitful interaction.
Yes, Honorable, if it's okay, then you'll excuse your mask so that we can communicate effectively. Excuse yourself with the mask.
Oh my goodness, hopefully.
We've sanitized, there's social distancing, and we...
Please. I need to be safe. You also need to be safe.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Well, Honorable, to begin with, we saw Cabinet come up with this decision. Even before you look at these specific guidelines, one would wonder what informed Cabinet at such a time? Because we've been around for so many years and we've not seen specific attention where the entire Cabinet says a decade of environment restoration.
The struggle has been on. Only that maybe we were overwhelmed with degradation for that matter. But as we speak, as you rightly say, nature is speaking. And we have no option but to listen. Since we met during the Mabiira struggle, I think our country has been on a declining trend as far as conserving our environment is concerned. For instance, our wetlands have already declined from 15% to about 8%, which is alarming. The forest cover, we used to have about 24%. We only have about 9%. And issues like our crested crane, our Ugandan heritage and pride, we used to have about 100,000 of them, species. We only have about 10,000. And these are indicators that not all is well. The water, the quantity of water we have, the volume, we used to have about 66 billion cubic meters. We are now about 43 only billion. So you imagine with the challenges we have at hand, then we are looking into a glaring problem. And therefore, we can't just sit down. Yes, there's a saying that there were issues around that. What caused this decline? People will always tell you, yes, urbanization, population growth, industrialization, agriculture, the pressure. Well, who's doing that? We are all in the engagement of it, in production, so much of a high population and the rest of it. But I think as a government, we see that there's no headway to that. We can't continue dilly-dallying and giving excuses that we are in this and we can do nothing about it. The warnings, as I have said, is really glaring, and therefore, as we plan for sustainably managing the target of social and economic transformation as a NRM government, the developing NDP3 programs, all this will be at stake if we don't manage our environment, our natural resources, environment and natural resources properly. Because they are prerequisites, they are a condition to attaining these plans we have as a government. Therefore, with that in mind, we made tough decisions. I'm happy that His Excellency the President gave me a hard docket to do hard job. because our docket is firefighting. It's not luxury. We are just on a firefighting. The other day I was also looking at what is going on around the country. Good enough with the media, you keep us on flashing it. A week ago we went to Kasese with the Prime Minister. 3 days ago the Prime Minister was also again in Bulisa. Before, when I came to this docket, I moved around the water bodies telling people that the rains are on. Please try to evacuate. The reality is that the effect of climate change has caught up with us. And this is a global problem. And we are committed, we are partners in this. We made agreements on making it better in our own setup. So the challenge is with us.
The challenge is with us.
So we need to take actions. And these are the hard decisions we have taken.
Well, now, Honorable, having given us that background, that yes, it's time to act now, we want to look at some of the measures that Cabinet came up with, how implementable they are. They are just about 10, and I think we'll briefly go through them one by one. The first measure was all encroachers in government forest reserves, lake shores, and river banks should be evicted and the affected ecosystem restored. Encroachers are hereby given time to harvest their crops and voluntarily vacate. Those who fail to comply will be evicted. Now, what is the possibility when we look at our lake shores, these government reserves, forests? It seems they have been encroached to a very big number, and many of the times there's a term of compensation. Even people who went there illegally, they come up with compensation. What is government plan? If you're removing us from here, what is the plan? What is the possibility of guideline number one?
Listeners, one thing which I really want to share is that we have never been determined to conserve the environment much stronger than now. And the lamentation we had in the past is, yeah, as you are rightly putting on, yes, we have these people encroaching, they're in the wetlands, they're in the lake shores. What is government doing? They are reported, they are known, they are big. But now, the biggest milestone is that His Excellency has had enough of it. Enough of it. The hiding behind the issue of that orders from above, or the big shots, for me, I know the chief executive is the biggest person in the country, in that hierarchy. So whoever has now orders from the biggest person who has now directed that this must be done, I, as the minister, I have to implement presidential directives. This is a position of government. We agreed in cabinet, chaired by His Excellency the President. And that's where I think dilly-dallying and people hiding behind the issues that I've gotten orders from above is time up. Yes, we are going to take a number of procedures. We shall start with the human face, as we have already made the pronouncement, as you heard it. It has gone out to the concerned that please, if you found yourself, and they know, people pretend that I have a title. How did you get that title?
Because that is step 2 where you said it should be cancelled and those who should be prosecuted.
Those will come in. So you went there knowing for sure that this is a wetland, this is a forest, but because you thought, okay, I will go around it, got somebody to help you, gave a title so that you think you own it. Listeners know that our original setup, people knew where the boundaries of the forest were, and we didn't have titles. People knew where the river bank is. In my village, we grew up knowing that a well where there's an anthill or a big tree, you don't cut it. And people respected that. So today's population are not conscious of that. But that's not going to be an excuse. The law says what? Ignorance is no what?
Excuse.
Excuse is no defense. So here we come. This is going to be implemented. We are going to talk to them, and as we are already issued a warning, and tell them leave. The fact is that where you are is a wetland, is a lake shore, is a forest. Please go. The issue of having people claim compensation, that is a legal matter. Many of them were hiding in courts of law. They will run there and secure some injunction. In the process, they destroy the remaining forest, for example. It's not going to be business as usual. I must be very, very clear on this. That for once, we have agreed as cabinet, as a government, that we are actually killing the future of our generation. What shall we hand over to our children? The future will judge us harshly if we don't protect the remaining natural resource and try to restore that which is destroyed. So that one, take it from me, is not going to be business as usual.
I love the word, not going to be business as usual. And for our viewer, just remind you that we began the decade of environment restoration after Cabinet on the 26th of last month passing this into action, and the minister is saying not business as usual. But you came up with 10 measures, and I want to look at number 7. That is the production, importation and use of polythene carrier bags in the country has been banned. Honorable Minister, I know you're very passionate about the environment, and actually when it comes to issues of Kavera, I've seen you at it speaking, moving everywhere, trying to have sensitization about this. But it seems over a time you've been defeated, if I may use that word. Over a time, many activists have found themselves that it seems we are looking at more into our economy, how many jobs are being created. We are looking at investors here, and at the end of the day, our environment is being buried. Can we take your word that this time, after Cabinet coming up with this, we are going to see this implemented? Kavera seems to be a menace that may not leave Uganda.
The truth of the matter is that most Ugandans are not in for Kavera. That's a fact. The compliment I've received since that time said, save us, at least this time around. Let's just kick Kavera out of Uganda. The civil society, they're up in it. And I remember one time you saw us taking a really walk from the Constitutional Square up to Lugogo, saying we are kicking Kavera out of Uganda. Yeah, maybe you could term it that we were defeated. But falling doesn't mean you don't get up and walk. So if we didn't manage the first time, because we have already a law in place, we have been at it for a long time. We went through the parliament, secure that microns below 30 microns, those Kaveras, commonly known as carrier bags and Kavera, should be banned. Yes, you could say that we were defeated, because no sooner had we assembled our NEMA team that these manufacturers went around and lobbied and said, hold, wait a moment. But the fact of the matter...
Masqueraded under recycling?
Those type of things. But mind you, no one should deceive you that it was also offering a job opportunity. I moved around these factories. I went to some of them. On the production line of carrier bags, Kavera, you find only 2 people. This is a fact. Besides, those production lines can be diverted to do something we have advised. No, it's not about carrier bags. But I think this time now around, we are seeing that if we give people a latitude of banning some, that is 30 microns and below, and then leaving others, then people will mix it up. This time around, we want to go for a total ban. But we shall go through Parliament. We have to strengthen that law that will enable us go for a total ban. But for as per now, the 30 microns and below is already out of our way. Quickly, we are going to Parliament to strengthen that law, and we get it for total ban. So everybody should brass up for that. We had actually even mobilized Ugandans out there, our mothers, to have alternative carrier bags. In my car, I have a basket. And these are our traditional environmental friendly products. I even carried some to Parliament at one time. And I'm sure you and me, we don't need the Kavera which is littered everywhere. You know, if you looked at our environment, if you're flying over and the wind comes about, you'll be shocked. But besides that, as I said much earlier, it is actually the business community which want to impose Kavera on Ugandans. Most Ugandans who have their gardens, they know the dangers of Kavera. Those who have cattle, they know the dangers of Kavera. And then even health-wise, it is very expensive for our country to treat the cancers accruing out of this polythene commonly known Kaveras. Look at other neighboring countries like Rwanda. So somebody should not say, ours, we are condemned to use Kavera. No, this time, no, it's not going to be that.
Well, Honorable, very...
them manpower. But we have only 186. These are not enough. And we had that gap. Districts, we have environmental officers, forest officers. But if you see, the budget to that effect is very minimal. And the people that are dealing with and the problem at hand is huge. So in a district, to think that there's only one environmental officer to run around and protect this so-called mafias, I could term them, because actually they are destroying the future of our country, it's not an easy thing. So we have identified those. We have added a budget to that effect. That is how serious we are going to undertake, so that we beef up the human resource. NEMA, you can also see them firefighting. Today they are here, the other time they are there. Leave alone that it is also true that our own officers, either the Environmental Protection Police or the NEMA officials, some of them have been caught also being compromised in the process. Either they turn their eyes the other side on some people and cause us to have double standards, or they are bribed for that matter, which I think with this Sanja no kuna mchezo and corruption being one of the items we were told when we were swearing in, I think that is one of the things which will help us tighten up. Leave alone that we have also indicated that when you are found, normally we were going for, let's say, people who are degrading the environment, those who have gotten titles and the rest of it. But we are going even for those who have authorized. NEMA, for instance, we have given them from that day that there should be no insurance of a certificate of no objection to any factory or wetland user. You know, that is already from that day effective. So if you are found issuing that, even you who's issuing, the officer, our own officer, we're also cleaning our own house, you must be arrested and prosecuted. We have said rice growing in the wetlands. We have had people complain of Buvera, whatever. Yes, even Parliament raised this, and you find that they are giving a no objection certificate. Bugoma has been on, Mabiira, every place. But now this time to show a bit of how we are serious is that you who is giving a go-ahead, a government official, you are also going to be arrested.
Honorable, there is also this other issue in terms of protecting the environment that I need clarity on now that you have entered a decade of environment restoration, and you're saying that guns are ready to ensure this time it is seriousness. Environment impact assessment report, where many times we've seen culprits saying, no, this was conducted and we can coexist. We can have this as long as we have maybe proper drainage, we're not infringing on the critical belt. There is so much of terms that they put there to justify that.
It's true that our natural resources, like the wetland and forest, communities, we can coexist with them, but under our guidance. And most times we give them those are guidance, but they are not followed. For example, somebody who is going to mine sand, we say fine, you can mine it in a sustainable way and then restore. You know, but most of the time they don't do that. You know, so like in the forests, we have already some management contracts or MOUs. We have contracted with the communities around our forests that we engage them in tree planting, which they can also harvest sustainably and earn a living. Because the best guides are the community. Once they are benefiting from that, then they are the best guides to give us a whistle. They become whistleblowers. For example, I have a document here which I will leave with you. The Louise Catchment Management Plan. You know, this document has come out from my ministry. We have engaged the community, and they're actually starting to benefit from the wetland. And we have restored the Louise, our wetlands, and that's why we are saying people who have encroached on it can live. But we also indicated that up country where they can have a livelihood, we are going to give them alternative source of livelihood. We are going to give them fish ponds. If they so wish, they can keep a beehive to put in there. They can even start ecotourism, both in the wetland and in the forests, in a sustainable manner. So we are not completely shutting them out from using the natural resource, but as long as they agree with us the way they are supposed to use those natural resources in a sustainable manner, that's an alternative we are giving them, which is open. Now, look at the issue of, I mentioned Bulisa, but you also look at Munyonyo and the other parts of the lake shores. It's true that there are also areas where the owners have their genuine titles.
Yes.
Like in Bulisa, I saw, actually the water has chased away the owners 2 kilometers away. That means it has gone into people's genuine owned properties. You know, these are people, if they come up, yes, government is saying nature has claimed its way. You are not within our boundaries of 200 meters as stipulated. Yes, those are the people who can engage them and talk to them, because you are no longer going to be able to use your property, your facility. Let's use it and restore it for the environment management, or you use it for ecotourism in the way we can advise you. That is also an open end. So not all is lost. That's true of the matter. That's why we are saying we are going to put on a human face, engage all those who want to protect the environment with us. As an example, we have also another document which I want you maybe you look at. We have wetland ecosystem.
Building resilient communities.
Yes.
That is wetland ecosystem and associated catchment project.
Yes, we have all
Uganda.
this. And here we have already, it's a project which we are replicating from Limoto. So it is going through the eastern region, and we want to replicate it in the whole country. And many people who have already embraced it are beneficiaries. We have documentations which are here indicating that indeed people can viably benefit from the environment. For example, if we start giving them the fish ponds, you earn more from fish ponds than rice growing. No? So those who are also like rice growing, if we say we have banned rice growing in the wetlands, we can give them the fish ponds and they do fishing.
Well, Honorable, time is not so much on our side, but before we wind up, the public needs your reassurance that this time around government is going to act. You've talked about the term mafias, where we know that, yes, we know these are people that invest greatly. Someone can reclaim a wetland and inject $1 billion of trucks in terms of Mara. That is a very expensive venture. So how prepared are you to counter this, and how serious are you this time to bite and see, yes, that 10 years from now we'll have restored our environment and our ecosystem?
Really, to indicate how serious we have given ourselves, we have given ourselves a timeline that in 10 years something should have changed. The face of our environment should have changed, because we are going to undertake it seriously. And we have already created a committee chaired by the first Deputy Prime Minister, the former Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, and I'm a member of that committee, and we are setting ourselves, actually the meeting will start tomorrow. That is how serious we are. And then we have a work plan. That is one. Two, the biggest asset we have is the political will. For the first time, all of us, we are agreeing in totality. As the Baganda say, tusizachi munga nkuyege. It's like we are in total agreement, including the Minister of Trade, because you earlier indicated that there's a pulling of rope where maybe benefits from the Buvera versus restoration of our environment. This time around, the new Minister of Trade, we are at par. And three is that the budget, because really these activities, to show how serious we are, we must have allocated funds. Where there are gaps, we need that fund. We are going to allow ourselves to recruit more human resource, which was lacking. We need the police. We even need to train others to beef them up. We have already said to send more money at a district level so that our environmental officers can be able, they are facilitated to go around. We are partnering. The partnership starts with you here. I'm happy to be on UBS and the other,
TV.
UBS TV, and then other media houses. You are our partners in this. We are going to engage the civil society. We are going to engage the religious institutions. We are also engaging the cultural institutions, especially of Uganda. I know we have been partners when we had the Mabiira thing, and I'm very appreciative that Sabasaja is a kingdom partnered with us. We are going to partner with all Ugandans. It is you and me. We must do something. Starting with me, starting with you, it is possible. So work with us the work, give us the publicity, let's blacklist and put to shame.
Name shame.
Yes, we name and shame. And we look forward, Ugandans, because for me, I believe Ugandans don't want Buvera, for example. And I believe that Ugandans want to conserve their environment. As you rightly say, there's no poor person who can go and build in the wetland. No. These people who have some more money, why can't you use that money and buy land where it is not a wetland? Why do you have to go for a forest? So the poor people of Uganda who value your agriculture, who value the future of your children, who value your cattle, join in the hand, and we isolate those few and restore our mother country, for God and my country.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Honorable Beatrice Anywar, who is the State Minister for Environment, for having joined us this morning. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Honorable, and of course, Ugandans, you've had it. We entered a decade of environment restoration. That was after Cabinet passed this on the 26th of last month. Let's work together to protect Mother Nature, because when the environment speaks, it is so expensive for us to abide by the demands. We can only protect it and ensure that we save Uganda for generations to come.